All right, this is a different, very lightly edited video that I'm going to be doing where we're going to go over the Chiefs' final injury report, and I'm going to do a little bit of a preview, just final thoughts on this game as it is tomorrow. And so let's get into it. But first, how about those? All right, here we go. Let's talk Chiefs injuries first and their injury report. Wanya Morris is going to be the only player officially ruled out. Then you have two players that are listed as questionable, with those being wide receiver Justin Ross, who sustained a hamstring injury in last week's matchup against the Chargers and left the game, did not participate on Tuesday, but was limited Wednesday, Thursday, questionable. Then you have wide receiver Kadarius Toney, who's still dealing with this hip and ankle issue. I think the biggest issue is the hip, because that's what was really been talked about more by Andy Reid from what I can recall in all of his pressers. But he hasn't played in 3 games. Talking about Kadarius Toney, was limited all week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, which is the first week in a while that I can recall Kadarius Toney has actually practiced 3 consecutive days. So he's listed as questionable. Andy Reid was asked about that, about Kadarius Toney's status, and he basically said if he's good to go or if he's going to play in the game on game day, he's going to be used in a limited capacity. So don't expect too much from wide receiver Kadarius Toney. Then obviously probably don't expect too much from wide receiver Justin Ross. Now, don't expect too much either, unless this is smokescreen, from wide receiver Mecole Hardman, who offensive coordinator Matt Nagy said had a great game against the Chargers, but he may see a little increase in usage this week, Saturday, against the Dolphins. And what I mean by that is I'm not talking about usage compared to Week 18's matchup against the Chargers, because Mecole Hardman played 100% of the offensive snaps. They were asking, talking about the Chiefs media members, they were asking Matt Nagy his thoughts on if Mecole will see an uptick in snaps this week with the starters based on how he performed Week 18, because he led in catches, he led in receiving yards, etc., etc. Now, Matt Nagy basically said a little bit. He might see a little bit of an increased role. That's either smokescreen, so the Dolphins don't know a damn thing, or he's being serious, and I could honestly see that unfolding. I could honestly see Mecole Hardman not getting a lot of snaps. Obviously, Kadarius Toney, Justin Ross, and Sky Moore is out on IR. So who I do see getting a lot of snaps for sure is MVS. He's going to be running a lot of wind sprints out there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, he's a good run blocker. He knows all the positions. He can help get guys lined up. Like, I get it. Hopefully he balls out in this game. It's going to be freezing cold, so I don't know how anybody's going to do in this game. Wind chill of -25, but MVS is going to get a lot of reps, probably snaps on offense, as is Rashee Rice, which is going to be good, obviously. And then you'll have Justin Watson will probably be the next man up as well. So we'll see if Mecole Hardman is smokescreen or not. Time will tell there. And if we look at the rest of the injury report real quick here, everybody else basically practiced in full capacity all week, except for L'Jarius Sneed. He was limited on Tuesday, but was a full go Wednesday, Thursday, has no game designation. Neither does Jawan Taylor, so he's playing. MVS, Rashee Rice, Pacheco, which is great news. Noah Gray, like everybody else on here, they're going to be good to go. The Chiefs are looking relatively healthy. Now, if you look at the Dolphins injury report, not so healthy for them. The main ones to look at, you have Xavier Howard, who's ruled out. That's how it was looking. He didn't participate all week, but neither did Deshaun Elliott. Their safety, Javon Holland, free safety. His injury is knees, by the way. Both knees, I guess. You don't see that a lot on the injury report. And I'm not laughing at the injury, guys. Just how often do you see knees? Not just one, but it's both of them. They hurting. But both of those guys did not participate Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. They're listed as questionable. Head coach Mike McDaniel basically said, we'll see if those guys are going to play their game time decision. Okay. Now, so is Raheem Mostert and Jalen Waddle, but they are trending upwards. Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert were limited all week. But even though they're listed as questionable, I would assume they're going to play. We'll just have to wait and see. Everybody else on here, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey, Devon Achane, Teron Armstead, like all these guys, they're going to play. So I would also assume Raheem Mostert and Jalen Waddle plays because they need this win and they need it bad. Now, obviously, they're not going to risk player safety over it or anything like that, but I would assume if I had to put money on it, Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert plays. Also worth noting, Devon Achane, not Achane. The Chiefs did not play against this guy week 9 against Germany. And I want to talk just a little thoughts on how the Chiefs can win this game. And if you look first, let's go Kansas City offense against Miami defense. This is going to be something that's very interesting for me to watch. The Chiefs finished 15th in points per game on the season with 21.8. They were first last year. None of this stuff is new. We understand the Chiefs have struggled scoring points. They've struggled in the red zone. They were second in the red zone, scoring like 71% of the time, scoring a touchdown 71% of the time. This year, 54.10%. That's 17th. That's in the bottom half of the NFL, albeit barely, but just those are some big things that we need to watch. We need to see improved from the Chiefs offense. We got to see the little stuff, the mistakes, the miscues, the penalties, the turnovers on the offensive side of the ball corrected or at least limited. Don't have as many. If you normally have 8 to 10 of those a game, talking about miscue here, drop there, penalty here, like just eliminate a few of them and I will be much more confident. Now, some good news that I didn't talk about on this injury report is while Wanya Morris is ruled out, not good, Donovan Smith, and I actually just kind of overlooked him completely, but I definitely wanted to mention him. Donovan Smith, the starting left tackle until he sustained this neck stinger and missed like 5 games, he practiced all week as well. He was limited Tuesday, Wednesday, full participant on Thursday. So he is going to be playing. That is the plan. He's going to be starting. Will he last the whole game? I don't know. Donovan Smith's injury, it's a neck stinger, but it was causing numbing and tingling down his arm and into his hand. So they were getting reps from Wanya Morris, the 3rd-round rookie, and until he got concussed. Last game, Week 18's matchup against the Chargers, he's ruled out. So we've already talked about that. But I'm bringing that up to say this. I am glad Donovan Smith is going to be playing because if you didn't have Wanya and you didn't have Donovan Smith, you have Juwan on the right. Who's playing left? Lucas Niang? I mean, are you kicking out Joe Thuney to left tackle and putting Nick Allegretti in at left guard? Like, those are a couple of options, but I don't love either of those. I like this better. Donovan Smith left, keep the interior trio intact, and then Juwan Taylor on the right. So that's great news in my opinion. The tackles are okay this year. The interior trio, one of the best in the NFL, even though we could maybe debate or argue Trey Smith has struggled a bit at times, as has Creed Humphrey compared to previous seasons. Still pretty good on the interior trio there. Joe Thuney is an absolute dog machine. He's him. Now, the Dolphins, they are banged up on the D-line. I've already talked about this earlier this week, but they just signed Justin Houston and a couple others, Bruce Irvin, and then they signed Melvin Ingram, who was on their practice squad since December, but they signed all 3 of those guys to the active roster. The average age of the Miami Dolphins pass rushers in this game is about 33 years old or so, because you also have Emmanuel Ogbah, who's been on the team all season, former Chief, played there for a little bit, but he's 30. Justin Houston, 34. Then you have Melvin Ingram, 34. Bruce Irvin, 36. So some people were thinking when I was kind of trolling around about their ages that I was disrespecting them and not giving them any credit that they could do damage. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's pretty crazy that the Dolphins are so depleted injury-wise. They put so many people on IR last week. Their first 2 pass rushers, like 1-2 combo, Bradley Chubb, and I'm spacing the other guy's name off the top of my head. Maybe he's 4th in sacks, but they are moved to IR. So they have a ton of injuries on the D-line. So where I think the Chiefs can have an advantage here with their O-line relatively healthy and intact is pound the rock with Isaiah Pacheco. Wind chill of -20, -25. the last thing you are going to want to do if you are a Miami Dolphin is try to tackle the freight train known as Isaiah Pop Pacheco. He got that name because he hits so hard. He got that nickname a long time ago. That's going to be a key to victory for me if you are the Chiefs offense. Pound the rock. I don't even know what passes are going to look like in this weather. We're talking about this is going to be the coldest game in Chiefs franchise history, or borderline Chiefs franchise history, coldest game in Dolphins franchise history, and top 5-ish coldest games in the entire NFL. We'll see how it actually shakes out, and I'll report about it after. But yes, the Chiefs are going to have to pound the rock, get the run game going against an already weak, depleted D-line that has newly signed pass rushers there. So that's key one. Number two, you could actually say the run game is key two. Key one is what I've already talked about. Please have less drops. Please have less penalties. Please limit the turnovers, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. If you could do that, have some clean drives established, I think that is going to be a win if you are the Chiefs offense. You also need to score some touchdowns because the weather, again, being so cold, these balls, the K-balls, the kicker, that's going to be like kicking a stone. Harrison Butker's going to line up to kick, and he's going to be kicking a rock that's like this big. So more touchdowns, the better. I understand against the Bengals, Harrison Butker kicked 6 field goals. The Chiefs scored 25 points, and it was enough to win. People were like making fun of the Chiefs. Oh, all they could do was score field goals. Well, guess what? In this era of Chiefs Kingdom, at least this season of the Mahomes era, it is a different team. It is a defensive-led team. It's not an offensive-carried team like it has been in years past. So if you put up 25 points, if the Chiefs are able to put up 25 points, let's say in every single game this postseason, I would almost put money on them not only making it to the Super Bowl, but quite possibly winning it. If they scored just 25 points every single game in the regular season, you want to know how many games they would have lost? One game lost if they would have put up 25 points a game. So if they could just do that against any team, I don't care who it is, because the Chiefs defense is so good, because Spags is coaching out of his mind, because they have Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, Mike Dana is balling out, Charles Omenihu, the secondary balling out, Snead, not Creed. Creed's on the other side, even though he picked up the ball and tried to run it in the Chargers game, and it was hilarious. I love to see that. But the secondary's balling out. Justin Reed, doing great. Jamari Connor stepping up for Brian Cook, who's on IR. Don't forget Trent McDuffie, balling out. And I'm forgetting some guys, but then the linebackers. Nick Bolton, he's here. He's healthy. Willie Gay, playing well. You have Drew Tranquill. You have Leo Chanel, Jack Cochran, Cam Jones. I mean, they're playing out of their minds. And since we're talking about defense, let me pull up this other graphic here. We're going to go KCD versus Miami O. The Chiefs defense has allowed just 17.3 points per game on average. That's the second best in the NFL, only behind the Ravens. And that is why, if the Chiefs can score 25-ish points in the postseason, they're probably winning the Super Bowl. Defense is playing out of their minds. Second in sacks. They've got to get to Tua Tagovailoa. It's freaking cold. A couple keys that I think I've talked about this before the Chiefs played the Dolphins in Germany, not Miami. Before they played them, I said, hey, the Chiefs need to go up early. They need to force the Dolphins offense to step back and try to play hero ball, to step back and throw, to try to force things because they're trailing from behind. They're not good when they're trailing from behind. In fact, the Dolphins in general haven't been good against playoff teams this year. They're 1-5 against playoff teams. You know what else they're not good at doing? Playing in the cold. They are 0-7 in their last 7 games where a game has been played where the temperature is 36 degrees or lower. Well, the only thing is, I don't know how much of a benefit this cold is for the Chiefs because it is so brutally cold that I think it's going to affect both teams. I mean, wind chill of -20, -25. Kickoff temp is 0, I think. Fourth quarter temp is -5. That's not including the wind chill. I mean, this is so brutally cold, it's probably going to affect both teams. But if the Chiefs can get up early, if they can force the Dolphins to feel like they have to play a bit more pass heavy, which what they're very good at doing and is a key that we have to watch if we're talking Chiefs D versus Miami O, the Dolphins are good at running the ball. 6th best in the NFL, averaging 135.8 yards per game. And that is a weakness of the Chiefs defense, 18th in the NFL, they're allowing an average of 113.2 yards per game. That's the weakest part, in my opinion, of the Chiefs defense out of everything. Pass rush and Spags' ability to dial up blitzes and get pressure on the quarterback, not a problem. Limiting points, not a problem. You know, they may struggle a little bit on third downs, but they're still 10th best. Red zone TDs allowed, 8th best. If Troy did these graphics, I think that's right. But still, the Chiefs defense, man, they're playing really well. Love this matchup, especially against a home field advantage. You got the Arrowhead crowd going nuts. That's going to disrupt the Dolphins offense in the huddle. Like, I love all of that. The Dolphins offense is the real deal. But if you can limit their run game, remember, Devin Achane, he's playing in this game. Okay, they did not face him in Germany. That is a guy to watch. He averages like 7-point-something yards per carry, which is highest in the NFL. He's a rookie. He is insane. They are insanely fast. That's not even talking about the wide receivers. We haven't even talked about Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Put Snead on Hill, bracket Hill. Don't let them give up huge chunk plays. Make them earn every single yard. Make them fight for it, because they are a team that can strike if you blink funny, if you're in the wrong position, wrong coverage and zone. For a half second, they can burn you. Now, they had a good game plan against Miami in Germany. They held them to 14 points, and thank God that they stripped Tyreek Hill and took it to the house, because that gave the Chiefs 21 points. It was 21-7, and then the Dolphins had to fight from behind and play into the Chiefs' hand a little bit with Spags and company. So there's a few things off the cuff, little edited. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. With all that being said, I'm rolling with the Chiefs getting the dub. My initial prediction on Wednesday's stream with Kylie was Chiefs 24, Dolphins 21. I may walk that back a tad and say Chiefs 21, Dolphins 17, just because it's so freaking cold. I honestly don't know what to expect. I hope it's not a one-score game. I hope the Chiefs win convincingly, 10-plus points. But you know how it goes sometimes with Andy Reid and company. They like to give us stress. They like to give us heartburn. They like to make those of us who don't even smoke cigarettes want to go smoke cigarettes. A smoke break to relax and chill. But that's what I'm going with right now. Initial prediction was 24-21 Chiefs. Wouldn't be surprised if it's something like 21-17, 17-14 because of how cold it is, and the Chiefs defense limiting Miami's high-powered offense, but then the Chiefs offense doing what they've kind of done at times, off and on all season, struggle. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully it's not that close, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on the score prediction, on keys to victory, on this cold weather, on the injury report. And until next time, which is hopefully after a Chiefs W, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?